Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Silveria Jacobs. Disaster Coordinator and Fire Chief Clive Richardson. Head of the Meteorological Department of St. Martin, Mr. Joseph Isaac. Online viewers and radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM and respective radio stations island-wide. I'm Rolika Roach of the Department of Communication, and on behalf of the Prime Minister and Chair Lady of the Emergency Operations Center, the Honorable Silveria Jacobs, I welcome you to this national briefing with regards to an update on the weather developments. For more on this subject, I would like to invite the Prime Minister of St. Martin, the Honorable Silveria Jacobs, to address you. Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rolike. It's still unmuting. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you very much, Rolika. Good afternoon to my colleagues joining me here today, the general public of St. Martin tuned in, as well as the members of the press. Today, people of St. Martin, I come to you this afternoon as Prime Minister and Chair of the EOC in a national briefing for today, July 28th, to update you on the current development as it pertains to Tropical Storm Isaias. Together in this national briefing, I thank Mr. Richardson, as was already introduced by Ms. Roach, and Mr. Isaac for joining me to be able to properly update the general public. Though the EOC has not been officially activated for this purpose, we did hold our first meeting pertaining to the developing weather conditions yesterday, whereby a press release was issued last evening. Due to the fact that at that time it had not yet developed into something that we could call a storm, it was still undefined. We were unable to issue any warnings or watches. But as of 11 a.m. today, a tropical storm warning has been issued for St. Martin, and I was notified just prior by Mr. Isaac of this development. Luckily, we'd already planned this briefing, as we knew that we would have to inform the general public at least 24 hours before any expected weather that would be negative or can have a negative impact on our society. So as such, I would like to invite the Met Office representative, the head, Mr. Joseph Isaac, to take the stage at this moment to update us on the latest developments.
Thank you, Prime Minister. And once again, as reiterated by the Prime Minister, I would like to invite the head of the Meteorological Department of St. Martin, Mr. Joseph Isaac, to address you. Mr. Isaac, you have the floor.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the Prime Minister. Good afternoon to Mr. Richardson, the NDC. Good afternoon to all your listeners. It is indeed a pleasure to be here today so that we could give a tropical update on what we describe as potential storm 9. We have been monitoring this system for a while now and has been putting out messages indicating that there's an area of low pressure out in the Atlantic with potential for becoming a tropical storm. And while as we speak, it is just borderline in terms of becoming a tropical storm, it's not named yet, so we call it potential tropical storm 9, because there's a very strong confidence that it will become a tropical storm. And one of the reasons also that we have been putting out special bulletins on this system over the past couple of days is because we anticipated that it could form as a storm very close to the islands. At 11 today, we had the center located at 13.8 north and 53.7 degrees west, or about 690 miles east-southeast of St. Martin. The system is moving towards the west near 23 miles per hour, and on this forecast track, it is expected to move through our region on Wednesday. The maximum sustained winds are 40 miles per hour with a higher gust, and some strengthening is expected during the next 48 hours as the system is expected to become a tropical storm by tonight. Tropical storm force winds extend outwards up to 230 miles from the center, and that is primarily in the northeastern quadrant. The estimated minimal pressure is 1,007 millibars. Some of the significant things to note there is that while it doesn't have a defined close eye in that the area of low pressure is a wide area. The cloud extent from it is very wide, especially in the northeast quadrant, as far as 230 miles. When we look at the different models we use, we look at the models for rainfall. It looks like most of the rainfall will be occurring during the day or Thursday night. When we look at the wind models, we could see a deterioration in terms of increased wind speeds as we go on late into tonight. And also when we look at the models for the sea conditions, we think that the seas have already started to deteriorate. And as we move further into the day, into tonight, we will see a further deterioration of sea conditions. When we look at the combined models, most of the models would have the center of circulation just south of St. Martin. It being just south of St. Martin would basically put us in the northern section of the system if it doesn't go directly over us. And again, we would be speaking of a tropical storm. So basically what we're looking at is tropical storm conditions. When we look at the forecast intensity for the system, only 2 of the models would have it becoming a category 1 hurricane as it goes through the islands. So the confidence is very strong that it would remain as a tropical storm. In terms of the summary for St. Martin, we're saying windy conditions could begin late tonight through Wednesday. The rainfall, the potential tropical cyclone will produce rainfalls of 2 to 6 inches. So that would be about 2 inches on the lower end and 6 inches on the higher end. That could produce flash floods and rockfalls. The seas, we expect the sea conditions to continue to deteriorate. And on the higher end, we expect swells to get up as high as 15 feet, and that is on the higher end. So a small craft advisory and flash flood advisory will go into effect later today. Residents in areas prone to flooding and near the coast should make the necessary arrangements to protect life and property, and the general public should continue preparations and keep updated to information coming from government officials and the Meteorological Department of St. Martin. We are in the hurricane season. We have been talking about the system for a while, so persons should have had most things in place, and just to finalize them now. As we said earlier, we will continue to update the public, and we will be producing bulletins later on today.
Thank you, Mr. Isaac. I would now like to invite the Disaster Coordinator and Fire Chief, Clive Richardson. Mr. Richardson, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Ms. Roach. Based on the information that we've been receiving from the Met Office and our different ESF coordinators, we have been already since yesterday, as Prime Minister said, we had an EOC meeting, and we have been putting the different things in place so that we can be prepared for the necessary weather that is coming. Based on this, we would also like to inform the public, looking at the amount of rainfall that might possibly fall, to avoid certain areas like the Sakers Gut Road, the LB Scott Road, Welker-Legen Road in Cahill, Beacon Hill Road and Ryan Road, because these are known as flood areas. At the moment, we are also identifying if it is necessary to activate the EOC, but this is something that is still being looked into, because we want to wait until we get the next update to take certain decisions that will have an effect on the island, seeing that we are already also busy with COVID-19. So at the moment, we're busy just trying to put everything in place for the pending weather. And from the Office of Disaster Management, we would like to ask everybody to have the necessary preparations in place if you're not feeling safe at home, to either go to a friend or family member for your own safety. And as you know, we are still busy with preparations for the shelters, and that is still ongoing. So we would like to ask everybody of the public to assist in every way they can and to stay safe, and if not necessary, during the hours that we expect the weather to stay off the road as much as possible. As we go along today, we will keep, as Mr. Isaac said, updating the public with information via DCOM's webpage, via the app that we have. We will try to put as much information out there so that everybody knows what's going on and what has been decided pertaining to if it's necessary to shut down stores, shops. All of that information we will keep pushing out as the day goes along. That's my take at the moment, Rebecca.
Thank you, Fire Chief Richardson, for your remarks. At this time, I would like to re-invite the Prime Minister of St. Martin to provide you with her closing remarks. Prime Minister Jacobs, you have the floor once again.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good afternoon once again. Thank you, Mr. Isaac and Mr. Richardson, for the update. Mr. Richardson, I would hate to downstrive you in this briefing, but as you were speaking in discussion with the EOC via our messaging, it is clear that based on the fact that we will need to activate EOC as of now, we will be meeting this evening at 6 p.m. to finalize the plans, as the request would have to go in to be able to get the necessary assistance should the weather become inclement over the short period. As we've had that experience in the past, we wouldn't want to wait until it is actually so. So it is deemed necessary at this time. This is actually literally breaking news that we will, I have, as of now, activated the EOC specifically for the preparation for storm number 9, which is likely to develop into a tropical storm within the next 24 hours so that we can be properly prepared, especially as it pertains to the finalizing of the necessary dismantling of temporary structures, etc. Thank you for your updates. I would like the general public to ensure that preparations are being made, and within short, we will be giving further updates as to closures, etc. By this evening. By 6 p.m. Well, it can be 6 p.m. if our meeting is at 6 p.m. So after the meeting at 6 p.m., we will provide an update to the general public as to the closures, etc. But we would ask all to already start making preparations. We know many are already working from home, and so that at least would not prove to be too difficult, but all precautions should be taken for the expectation of heavy rains and some wind, and of course, where it pertains to flooding in low-lying areas. For those that would like to learn more about hurricane hazards and how to prepare for storms and/or a hurricane strike, please visit our government website, www.stmartingov.org/hurricane, where you will be able to download your own hurricane season readiness guide and the hurricane tracking chart. So that is on our government website, /hurricane. So if you haven't done that yet, please do so now. We are also now living in the COVID-19 reality, so you need to also have those materials necessary to maintain the cleanliness, the safety, the mask usage, etc., and ensure that you are safe at home. And as Clyde mentioned, Mr. Richardson, that you seek shelter elsewhere if that is not possible, as we're still finalizing our assessments of the shelters on St. Martin. We do not expect it to be a major occurrence, but we must always be prepared and in preparation for whatever may come, as these things can change overnight. In addition, you can also download the Disaster Prep St. Martin app for the Android and Apple phones by going to the Google and Apple stores, and follow us on our government radio station 107.9 FM for official information and news before, during, and after a hurricane. Government will continue to come to you with up-to-date information and the developments as they proceed. Please do not follow rumors always come to the source for the real news. The official weather-related information is also on our meteorological department, St. Martin, MDS, www.meteosxm.com. That is METOSXM.com. It only takes one bad storm or hurricane to make a bad season, and this one was predicted to be very active. We know that positive thinking can overcome a lot, and so we ask you to be prepared, think positive, and be safe. Let us be ready and prepared for this hurricane season. Thank you for joining us, and we will update you later today again on the latest developments.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs. Honorable Prime Minister of St. Martin, Silveria Jacobs, Disaster Coordinator and Fire Chief Clive Richardson, Head of the Meteorological Department of St. Martin, Joseph Isaac, radio listeners and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live national briefing for today, Tuesday, July 28th, 2020. For a rebroadcast, tune into St. Martin Cable TV, Channel 115, St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, and the YouTube channel Government of St. Martin. For video on demand, be sure to log in to the official government's website at stmartingov.org. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Rolika Roach and wishing you a pleasant day further.